Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's webinar. Tonight, we are joined by Hesther Tingley from Brook Cottage Farm RDA, and she's going to be doing this presentation for us. So, Hesther, if I could hand over to you to get started, that would be great. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I am just about to share my screen with you. This is to introduce myself. That's me on my big horse. I've been a teacher for a long time of music and French. I've been an RDA volunteer for quite a few years and a coach for quite a few years as well. And I'm into carriage driving, which I just love so much. On the creative side, I've written several novels, which I self-published, and I've written several plays which have been performed to great acclaim. And I'm the writer of 4 Christmas pantomimes which we have performed at Brook Cottage Farm RDA on a sort of horsey theme. So instead of Cinderella, we did Muckarella, and we did Jack and the Magic Haystack, things like that. I quite like adapting things to make them a little bit more horsey for our riders. So I also performed a one-woman show at Edinburgh Fringe, and I'm the creator of a viral internet edutainer, Doreen Doyley. I mainly did her for about 5 years, but I'm not really doing her anymore. But that was a fun time in my life. I do consider myself a creative. I've spent large tracts of my life telling stories and studying poetry, writing and performing plays. I believe that you can bring creativity into most areas of life, and it can sort of light up something that otherwise might be just a tad dull, and you can always inject a bit of fun and spice something up. So, just moving on to my next one. So I'm going to talk today about what is creativity, why is it important, how we can be more creative as coaches and encourage our riders to be creative too. And I'm going to give you some examples of creative activities with maybe using a little bit of theatricality and characterization. I'm also going to give you homework, which is very important. I am a teacher after all. So why is creativity important? Well, historically, there's a long and ancient tradition of creativity in human communication. Take storytelling right back to Homer and the oral tradition, when traveling storytellers would visit tribes and tell and develop their stories in a sort of rhythmical, poetic performance around the fire at night. Storytelling has a function. It's making sense of human experience and assigning value to things that happen. So people do tend to have this love, this innate love of story in their DNA. And by story, I mean something that's created. It's not necessarily real. It's in the imagination. It's in the mind. So say you're playing What's the Time, Mr. Wolf, with your children. You are using story. You're no longer just the coach. You are Mr. Wolf or Mrs. Wolf. Every time you do Round the World with your riders, you're connecting the world with their saddle. You're helping them expand their thoughts into the whole planet and think about north, south, east and west. You know, never eat shredded wheat, that sort of thing. So riding a pony, all the things we do at RDA, getting people carriage driving, looking after the ponies and grooming them, it's already wonderful. You know, this is the whole aim of RDA, to get people into the saddle and enjoying the physical thing that they're doing. Creativity is something we can just add, you know, it's not essential, it's just another layer, another plane of being. What is creativity? So you can have a moment just to think about what you think of as creativity. That picture on the left is me as Doreen Doyley in Edinburgh at the Fringe, doing a little dance. The picture in the middle is one of our Thursday riders in the middle of his round the world. I think he's either in Australia or New Zealand. And the picture on the right is one of our grooms at the yard. She played the part of Bella in our Bella and the Beast pantomime. So let me see. Yeah, the good thing about creativity is it can just be sprinkled in here and there. It doesn't have to be a huge undertaking, and you don't even have to think of yourself as a creative to facilitate creative activity. So creativity. Now, this is one definition that I found: the ability to produce original and unusual ideas, or to make something new or imaginative. So I've jotted down a few ideas there about what it means to me. You know, my favourites might be engaging on a different plane, thinking out of the box, making connections, you know, the use of dramatic elements or dressing up, you know, costume, that sort of thing. Let me move on. So, why is creativity important? Well, for us as coaches, it makes the lessons more fun and interesting. It allows us to make the lesson our own. It's something unique. You know, within a framework, we are creating something special. We're not following a set formula. We can make a lesson our own. For our riders, we're encouraging them to make their own choices, and we're showing them that their ideas are being sought out and valued. They are gaining some ownership of the lesson. They're learning to work with metaphorical concepts. So, you know, they're seeing that poles aren't just poles, they could be something else. They're starting to enjoy the dramatic and theatrical, and they can take all these skills into other areas of their life, and probably almost every other lesson that they go to at school, they can use these creative ideas. So, how to be creative as a coach? One way is to start with something small and simple. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cones in a circle. I'm imagining them probably 1.5 meters apart. What do you think we could do with this circle of cones? What could it represent? So you could have a little think about that. In one of our lessons, we set up this little circle of cones and it became a roundabout. So this was the very start of our town and city challenge. We started off with a roundabout. We started off going round to the right, and then we didn't want the ponies to get dizzy, so we started going round to the left as well. And one of the kiddies said, but we don't go round the roundabout going to the left. And one of the helpers said, well, maybe we're in France, which was quite nice, I thought. So here we have a square and a triangle and a rectangle, all made with poles. So one day we thought we would pop out some shapes like this and maybe walk over the poles, maybe go through the gaps, maybe stop inside the shape, you know, but they didn't stay shapes very long. They started to become other things. You know, we had the idea for a shop, a sweetie shop. We said, what sort of shop do you think it might be? And they came up with all sorts of ideas. Some very sweetly wanted to buy carrots for their pony, you know, or horse feed or hay for their pony. And then someone else had the idea for a cinema, and the helpers could say, well, what film are we going to see? You know, all you need really is a willing shopkeeper. And here she is. That's me. If you do actually buy real things like balls or lemons or apples or something, just watch out. Don't use real money because it gets lost in the sand. You can use pretend money, you know, not even coins or anything, just pretend money. You know, that will be 10p, please. Thank you. Just take the money, imaginary money. That's how it works best. Okay, so 5 black and white poles. Now, can they be something else? They variously have been in our sessions, a zebra crossing. They've been parking spaces. We've had the riders choosing which colour poles they like best to go through. They've become a 4-lane motorway. All sorts of ideas start springing up once you start trying to find them. 6 poles. Now, this is a real favourite lesson of mine. We put out the crossroads and how many ways in, how many ways out. Now, I will just have a look. You can use it in so many different ways. You could, for example, only go over poles, or you could only go through gaps, or you could try just turning right for a while without getting the pony dizzy. How to use the crossroads. You can play following the leader. So, for example, start with a helper being the leader, walking in front of the ride. Then let each rider have a turn at being the leader. Then you let your riders make individual choices, turning left or right or straight on. Would you want to go over the poles or do you want to go through the poles? With more advanced riders, before the turn, you can get them to practice holding the reins in one hand and signalling right or signalling left. This is all you need really is 6 cones. You've got several parking spaces. You can come into your parking space, then you park your pony. You say, whoa, you wait. All you need now to inject a little bit of urgency and theatricality is Vindictive Vicky, the very grumpy traffic warden. So this type of creativity is theatricality. I like this one the best, really. I think the children like it more than anything because it makes them laugh, you know. Normally that's Caroline, you know, she's one of our coaches. We all love her very much. But as Vindictive Vicky, she becomes something very special. And it's, you know, it's brilliant, isn't it, to be able to use this in our lessons. Anyone staying longer than 5 or 10 seconds in a parking space will incur Vindictive Vicky's wrath. All you need to make Vindictive Vicky's costume is some high-vis, a stop sign, which is quite easy to make, and a rather officious looking file. Oh, hold on. If you want to go even further, you can give Vindictive Vicky some parking tickets. If your riders are getting very proficient at riding around your crossroads and roundabouts, you can make them a driver's license. So one of our volunteers made these for our riders. It's easy to make, it costs very little, and riders do love to receive something to reward their new skills. So definitely try to tap into your volunteers and their creative skills, because a lot of them might be keeping it under a bushel, you know, the fact that they can knit or crochet or design things, you know, they're all very brilliant people if we just find out about it. So next picture, using our creativity. Now, one way of using creativity is to adapt things that are already given. So, for example, this is a countryside challenge map that I found on the RDA website. We all love the countryside challenge. You know, we've done it for many years and we love it. But if you want to mix it up a bit and change it a little bit, make it your own, you could choose a different theme, for example. So how do you adapt something? You can change the title, you can change the theme, and you can change the elements to fit the new theme. So this is what we did. Here's on the left the same countryside challenge map, and on the right we have the Brook Cottage Farm exclusive town and city challenge. It's sort of following the same framework. So if you start at the bottom left, you go up. Normally in the countryside challenge, you go up past the post box and the bush and the milk container and the pot and the lawnmower, etc., etc. On our one, we're going to be going around a traffic cone, a bin, a bench, a cafe table and a go slow sign. And then you go in the countryside challenge, you're going through that sort of rainbow arch, but we're going to go through a big sign that says mall. You know, then we're going to turn, and some of these elements coming up are the ones that we've already talked about. So the parking spaces, maybe Vindictive Vicky will get you on your way past and give you a parking ticket. We've got the crossroads, at which point your rider can choose which way to go. And then we've got the roundabout. You can decide whether you're in England or in France. And then you're going to visit the shop at the bottom, and someone will be there, possibly the shopkeeper, saying, what would you like to buy? Then you come up through the zebra crossing. Then we've got the cinema. Now, the cinema would never have been there without the ideas of some of our riders. And the next one, Click and Collect, that was also an idea that one of the riders had. You click the ball, you move on, you pick up a hoop from the thing, and you put the hoop in there, you deliver the hoop into the bucket. And that's the finish. So you can have a lot of fun with things like this. You know, you can do your own thing. Okay. And kind of just develop confidence as you go. Now, moving on to Gymkhana, one of my favourite things, if you can see this diagram, you can see, so the top one going from left to right starts with a bucket. It's the walk slow, walk fast race. You walk up to your cone, you go round the cone, you walk fast back. The second one, you'll recognise all these little bending race, in and out of the cones, round the end cone, in and out of the cones and come back. The third one, walk and trot, you know, that's very popular. The fourth one is, oh yes, it's put your beanbag on your head. So you ride up to your cone, you get your beanbag, put it on your head, ride back, feeling like the queen or the king or the prince, keeping your head very still. And then you put your beanbag into your bucket, you try to get it in the bucket. The fifth one is the same as that really, but you're riding up to your cone, you're picking up your teddy, and you're riding back quickly so that that monster in the bottom right hand corner, who is very special to me, doesn't get you. And the last one is the egg and spoon race. And we love that one particularly. So see the picture in the bottom right. What is it? It is a teddy monster. That's me. If you ask any child, this is seriously true, what they liked most about the lesson, they pretty much always say the teddy monster. So character creation is really the best fun. It tends to take on a life of its own. I used to have a furry blue hat, scarf, glove, paw combo with ears that was absolutely brilliant for the teddy monster. I looked much better than in this picture here, but I lost it, unfortunately. I've got to find a new one. Teddy monster, really, all the children know this. He has one googly eye in the middle of his forehead, and he's quite shaggy. He can't see very well, but he can and does smell. So on the next slide, you'll see a letter that the teddy monster has written to Princess Anne. He is justifiably very upset about the Thursday morning children and ponies stealing his teddies. I'll read you just a little bit of this. I obviously can't read it all because it's too long. But in the big sandy swamp at Brook Cottage Farm, he penned this little message to Princess Anne. Dear Princess Anne, HRH, Your Royal Highness, lovely princess. I need to complain, and I weren't sure who to complain to, but I thought maybe I could talk to you, you being the president of RDA and all that, and you having visited my swamp one time. See, I am a teddy monster. There are not many like me no more. I look after my teddies in the big sandy swamp at Brook Cottage Farm. Just so you know, I really love these teddies. I have blue ones and green ones and yellow ones and my favourite purple ones. And there's my red stripy mouse and my special shiny lizard and my slippery green frog. Not to mention my little yellow duckies, what I love very much. I put them carefully in their funnels at the top of their cones, and I stand there in the middle of my swamp, swivelling my head and guarding them. And I have a nice, quiet, squelchy time, thank you very much. But over the last year, every Thursday morning, lots of little children have been turning up and getting on their ponies, and they ride up and down, giggling, and they think it's very funny to take my teddies. Just the other day, I saw Tristan nabbing my blue teddy and riding off with it triumphantly. Benjamin swiped my yellow teddy and tried to claim he was carrying a banana. And Willow was on a very fast pony and trotted off with my very special green frog and said she'd been picking lettuce. So you get the idea. Okay, I won't read all of it, but I do have quite a lot of fun with it, and you can tell I had fun during lockdown. This is the last page, you know, he says, I'm very anxious about this, you know. My teddies are still there, thank the God of teddy monsters. You know, if them children do this again, I will have to gobble them up, and probably them fat little ponies too. You know, Teddy Monster is on guard. Okay, so you can see how far it goes, really. You can take creative ideas further and further. You know, you don't have to give up on them, just keep developing them over time. I might yet make some sort of fundraising book out of the Teddy Monster, because I do love him very much. So, homework. Very important to have homework. Firstly, thinking about Vindictive Vicky, the shopkeeper, and the Teddy Monster, please create one character. You can do a lollipop lady, a policeman, a scarecrow, a farmer, or something similar. You can decide on 3 items of costume. Doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be, you know, complicated, just a scarf or something, you know, a funny hat, and a prop for your character. So the stop sign, for example, you know, the scarecrow might have, I don't know, a crow. Decide on what sort of issues this character might have. Like the Teddy Monster, you can see he's a bit, you know, he's got himself into a bit of a state. He's a bit of a worrier. So how would this character interact with your riders? Remember, flawed characters are the best. If you read any book about character creation, it always says start with your flaw, you know, because perfect characters aren't really that interesting. You want someone with quite a lot of neuroses or some, you know, problem. It's more fun. Okay, and then B, persuade one of your volunteers to dress up as this character, or dress up yourself as that character and have a go, you know, see what the kiddies think. Number 2, think about the Countryside Challenge and the Town and City Challenge that we've discussed. Choose a theme. I've given a few there, but, you know, anything really. Olympics, you know, underwater, haunted forest. There are plenty to sort of think about, and think about how you could create a challenge of your own around this theme. Remember, really, you know, for example, I'll give you an example. The jungle might contain lianas, crocodile swamps, hollow trees, poisonous plants, sinking sands, naughty monkeys, you know, parrots, tigers. But how would you represent these things with what you've got, like poles? Maybe someone could make something, maybe someone could bring a toy parrot or a monkey, you know. How could you use poles to create a crocodile swamp? Could you have a toy crocodile sitting in a funnel? You know, that sort of thing. Have a little idea, have a little, you know, a little play with it, and see if you can inject some spice and interest into your next lesson. Try it out, test it, start small, and let me know how it goes. That's my email, if anyone wants to jot it down if they fancy doing the homework. And then that's it, really. But if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Will I stop share now? Yeah.
Great, thank you, Hesther. I found that really inspiring and interesting, actually, and already got lots of ideas buzzing around in my head, so hopefully everyone else has too. We have got the chat box open, so if anyone has got any questions for Hesther while we're on, then please feel free to type something in the chat box for us. We'll give you a minute or two because we can't tell who's typing, so we'll just see if anything comes through.
I just wonder if anyone will do the homework.
Well, I was thinking, you know, with Easter coming up, that's quite a good theme, ready-made theme for people to start thinking about already. I know at the RDA National Training Centre, there's going to be an Easter Fun Day, and that will be very similar to what you've suggested with the Countryside Challenge, but around Easter.
Oh, that's fun.
Right.
A volunteer dressing up as a white rabbit for Easter egg hunt at Saddlewood. That's lovely. What a great idea. Thank you very much. This has really got me thinking. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Liked all the theme ideas. Oh, you're very kind. Well, you know, I mean, one idea leads to another, doesn't it? And remember, it's a no free zone. So if someone has a good idea or any idea, just never say no, because an idea that's just halfway there can lead on to other ideas that then will become good, you know. So it's best not to really put down anything. If someone says, oh, why don't we do that, you know, just never be that person who's sort of saying, oh, that won't work. You know, we want to be people who are saying, that could work, you know, and see where it can lead, because creativity is very fragile, and we can be easily deterred and discouraged. And a lot of creatives find that, you know, people with this sort of creative spark do find that they are very easily put down. So you have to keep strong.
There's a few questions coming through along the same theme now, actually, Hesther, regarding adult sessions.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas or suggestions about how to bring that creativity into the adult sessions without being sort of too patronising for the older rider?
Well, you can just tone down the childishness of it. So you could still use metaphor. You could still say, where shall we go in the town? Would you like to find the route through the town? You know, let's you know, go to the cinema and then go to the shop, and then, but you wouldn't have someone sort of going, maybe, what do you want to buy particularly? You adjust it according to who is your client. I think as an adult one, that's a really good idea, though. Maybe we could think about actually creating an adult version of these things.
Yeah. And also, I think some adults would still be into that fun side. So, like you say, tone it down a little bit, but you might be surprised that we all like to have a little bit of fun and use our imagination, don't we? So if as coaches and volunteers you're getting involved in it, hopefully those riders will also sort of pick up on that and get involved as well.
Oh, that's good. Football, cricket or sport idea. Lovely. Yeah, because a lot of children are very, very into that. A lot of children are really into gaming as well. They often mention things that I don't really know. Paw Patrol, but I should really have a little watch and find out what Paw Patrol's all about. You know, we need to tap into what they're watching, because obviously we're a different generation. Involving the children more, that's good. Oh, going to the races themed countryside challenge. I love that. Ooh. Grumpy car park attendant, buy a ticket to go in, have a drink in the bar, parade ring, the final furlong. That's brilliant. That's yes, idea, I love that idea. And maybe, betting? Maybe not. Do you do any carriage driving courses training? Volunteer Easter hat making. That's a good idea. Brilliant. Carriage driving courses. Yes, we do. So come along if you can.
There's another suggestion here. Someone's used M25 and speed cameras as a theme with adults.
Oh, that's really good. I like that a lot. So let me write that one down.
There was another one further up as well, I think.
Oh, can you actually send me the chat after?
Yeah, I will save the chat. And then
lovely. M25.
There's quite a few coming through. So if we have missed any, Hesther has shared her email or contact me, and then I can pass those on if people have got anything. That's it, great.
I love all those ideas. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I'm going to have fun reading the whole lot later. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Michelle's just said she has had adults playing games as well.
Good, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's been a really good evening. It's been nice to have a chat and share some of those ideas as well. Thank you very much, Hesther, for your time tonight and also putting that presentation together. And as always, this webinar will be posted on YouTube a bit later on in the week, so people can go back and watch and catch up.
Thanks so much. It was fun.
Brilliant. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.